哦，不能什么？restart。Hi, I'm Jin.
Hi, I'm Ying Jing. We are the founders of Pasta Express.
Yay!
What is Pasta Express?
We are one of the pioneers of the build your own concept in the pasta industry in Singapore. And we also focus on a quick serve concept, so more like towards the fast food brands, that kind of idea.
What is your day-to-day like as an F&B entrepreneur?
I think we mainly go to different outlets to maintain the quality and the consistency of our food and customer service. But above that, I think we also do some admin work and then, just to make sure everything goes to plan.
We heard that you only work 8 months in a year.
It's true to a certain extent. We managed to do that because out of our 6 outlets, 5 are in universities. No, 4 are universities. So we follow the university calendar. So they have 4 months of vacation, and during the vacation time, we are still open, but it's much less hectic. And during that time, that's when we focus on expanding the business, coming up with new recipes, improving the recipes, and actually to improve the quality of our pastas.
How did you start your F&B entrepreneurship journey?
Oh, that's a very, very long story. So I started my own pizza brand in 2011 after working at a Western restaurant for 3 to 4 years as a waiter, bartender, and a chef. Then my first pizza outlet was in 2011. It was in a coffee shop. It was okay. So I was in NUS year 2 and when I started my first outlet in coffee shop. So after that, I went on to franchise my pizza business. I also looked for investors to open up outlets with partnerships. And I grew to 13 outlets then. But back then I was inexperienced and I didn't know how to actually run a business. And everything I just closed down outlets one by one after that. And our last outlet that we closed down was in 2016. And that was when we opened Pasta Express in 2017.
How long did it take for you to expand to 13 outlets?
The whole journey was 6 years, from 2011 to 2016. But the bulk of the expansion came in the second or third year where I had 8-9 outlets at one go. So I think the bulk of the expansion, I opened like 5 to 6 outlets in that one particular year. Then I went on running it, open, close. So I didn't have 13 outlets at one go. I think the max was about 8 outlets. But throughout the whole 5-6 years, I think I opened and closed 13 outlets in total.
How did you make the decision to franchise your business?
Okay, so at that point in time, I was still a student. Before that, I was working a few part-time jobs to get allowance. So I didn't have much of capital, to start my own business. And I knew I had quite a good idea. I knew I had some skill sets, but I didn't have any funding, no capital, no funding. So the only way for me was to use other people's money. So 2 ways. One was through franchise. The other way was through investment. So when franchise is just, I'm a franchisor, I get franchisees to open franchise outlets. Then when I get investment to come in, it's maybe, I'm like half partners, so that's how I grew every one of my outlets after that.
As a student, how did you figure out where or how to find investors for your business?
I had no idea about it, so I just Googled where to find franchisees, where to find investors. And somehow I came across this online platform that connects, some kind of online brokerage that connects investors and investees, and that was I think 90% of how I found my franchisees.
How much did you successfully raise?
I think 12, 13 outlets. I think probably more than $1 million.
What happened to the franchise?
Okay, so basically I was inexperienced. My only experience was the 3-4 years in the Western restaurant, but that was as an employee. I had no idea how to run a business. I had no idea how to manage a business. All I had was a good idea. I did this build your own pizza. Back then when I started this build your own idea, it was in 2011. It was way before anybody started any build your own thing, So I thought I had a good business, like good business idea where people can come build their own pizza, based on their own preference, what toppings they like. What was your question?
1 eternity later.
Okay, so it was inexperienced. So there was nobody to guide me. I had no partners because I did it alone. I had no partners. I had no mentor. So everything that I learned it along the way. And also, it did not help that I was an undergraduate at NUS because I had to juggle between school, sports, and also the business, and also maybe a little bit of dating. So I didn't really focus or prioritize my business at the point of time. My main priority was having fun. It was just to have fun. And for me, running because I was still young, it did not matter to me whether I succeed or not, because it was just for fun. It was just to try out. It did not matter to me whether I succeed or not. And I think that ultimately led to my downfall, because I did not focus and put in effort in running the business. Totally, yeah.
Were there other reasons that led to failed franchises?
Okay, so predominantly, number one, because it wasn't my money. Because I didn't use my money, it was like franchise. So it's like, you get a franchise outlet for me, my base wasn't strong, I had no franchise system in place. But then, so what went down is like, during the first month, I'll always be there running the operations. But after that, when I let go and let it self-run, that's when the business, the quality drops and everything drops and the sales drops, and to a point where, we cannot sustain the operations, we cannot sustain it anymore, and we have to close down after.
Did you try to resolve issues with the franchisees back then?
I know. Because they were very clear, most of them were very clear that, they are in as a silent franchisee, they are in as a silent investor, they have their own full-time jobs. This is just like an investment to them, a passive investment that they do not want to spend time on, and which was a very important lesson for me, because moving on to Pasta Express, we realized that the most important thing in running a business is to run it yourself. That's what we tell everybody, friends who want to start a business. We tell anybody that, wants to be it F&B or any other business. You say that you want to start a business, you have to be hands-on 99.9%. There's no such thing as self-run.
What made you guys decide to start another F&B venture after the previous experience?
Okay, so I would say that this is when Ying Jing comes in the picture. So in 2016, she was still working as an advertising executive. She was an executive, and she hated her job. She hated the Monday to Friday. She hated this whole, rat race, that, she has no free time. She dreaded Monday. She had Monday blues. She had Sunday blues. She only loved Saturdays, so, and she hated that. And that's when I told her, hey, I roped her into my pizza. Back then it was still a pizza business. So I roped her in, and we pumped in some money together to open up this bistro in Anson Road. That was our first venture together, and of course it failed, because back then it was still a pizza business, and our fundamentals were still not strong, and it closed down after a year. But then that was the start of our partnership. Then in 2017, I received a call from my ex-manager from my landlord, and she told me that, there's this new space at NTU where I was selling my pizza at maybe 5-6 years ago. And she proposed that same location to me and said that, why not you come in and start again. Then I was discussing this with Ying Jing. I was saying that, actually this is a good opportunity, but we cannot sell pizza anymore. We need to sell something that is either noodles or rice. Something that's carbs that, people can be filled. They can fill their tummies with. And that's when we started the same concept, the same build your own concept, but then instead of selling pizza, now we sell pasta. And that's when Pasta Express was born.
It was actually back-to-back. So in 2016, our bar outlet closed. And then in 2017, we were given the opportunity again. And that's when we opened Pasta Express. So I think it's more like another chance to, restart again. So we were grateful for that.
How did you guys decide to shift the core offering from pizza to pasta?
Definitely it was an easy decision, because we felt like in Singapore, people actually want to have like rice and noodles because they feel full. Whereas for pizza, I think that's that occasional like celebratory meal that they have in Singapore. I don't know, it's just a culture. So what we learned also is that we need to know who our target market, what do they want, for lunch, for dinner. Is it filling? Can they eat it every day? Or you just want a celebratory meal. So that's when we decided definitely pasta is the way to go.
How much money did you have to pump in to start Pasta Express first outlet?
So based on my experiences, my failures at pizza, so I opened I opened 13 locations. So some are in universities, some are in food court, coffee shops, shopping malls. That's when we realized that, actually the best location to open is in the schools, because the startup is low. Because what we got was a stall in the food court under Kofu. So renovation-wise was bare minimum. All you had to do was to bring in the equipment. So our startup cost was very low because back then I think we were losing so much money that we didn't have much money left. So it was good that the startup for the next outlet wasn't so high.
What was the journey like from a new outlet to seeing performance for the first outlet?
There was no journey. It was good since the very first day.
Yeah, so actually the first day we experienced a little bit of success because we saw, wow, actually people like our food. There were like returning customers. So I think even maybe 3 months into it, we were sure that, we were ready to look for subsequent outlet. We were, confident that this idea will work. So that's when I think maybe 6 months later, we were like, okay, let's look for another outlet in another university because, we could spread the crowd out.
What was the R&D process to finalize the menu?
So the outlet that we opened together, the first outlet that we opened together, bistro that we opened in 2016, we were already selling pasta. So that year was when we did the R&D. We got our friends down to try. Hey, does this taste good? Is it like a restaurant quality? And that whole year was when we do R&D the taste, and that was when we got the feedback that the pasta is good. You should sell it outside. That's when we had the confidence to actually open our first outlet.
How did you find your suppliers for the business?
We already had those distributors and suppliers from my pizza business. So shifting towards pasta is not that different. And perhaps for some new supplier, you just have to Google. Then when you Google, it's a very old school way. You just Google, then you email them, WhatsApp them, then they send you the catalog. Then it's just very old school. There was no connections, no contacts, nobody shared this contact. You just really, really Google.
How did Pasta Express expand from 1 to 6 outlets today?
So we currently have 6 outlets with 4 outlets in the school universities. So after our very first outlet in NTU, we were pretty confident that we want to target the 3 main universities in Singapore because that's when also the cohort is much larger than those private universities. So we actually went to approach each universities to look for like free spaces, and then after negotiation we managed to get in. And then after that, we also decided to branch out to like shopping malls because we were thinking that students who have already been buying from us, they will know our taste, they will like our taste, and then when they bring back to their neighborhood, they can introduce to their families. So that's how we actually slowly expanded 1 year to the other. We also didn't expand too quickly because we were afraid that we didn't get our basics right. So year on year, we first expanded universities because they were safe, and then after that, we went on to shopping mall, which is currently now we have one at Boulay Mall.
For those people who wants to follow your path and start F&B in schools, what is the process?
So similar to, I think every organization has a leasing department. So the first step is definitely to contact the leasing department. Or if you want to go inside a coffee shop or a food court, then you contact the food court operator. Even the food court operator, they have this leasing department within themselves. So the first step is definitely to contact the leasing side. Then thereafter, you submit your proposal, you will tell them, how many years of experience you have, blah, blah, blah. Then from then, they will assess, they will open a tender. Some might open tender, some might not open tender. So if they open a tender, you just submit your tender bid, then you submit your process, and that's usually how the whole process happens. Then if they like your concept, they think that, okay, this is interesting, then you accept you.
How you ensure consistency across all the outlets?
So previously, for the first, actually we only figured this out after probably 5-6 years of running Pasta Express. It wasn't like, straight away we figured out the recipe. So it was, so how we ran Pasta Express in the first 5 years was that, we hired Singaporeans, we hired part-timers, we wanted to cut costs, we gave low salaries, because our margins were thin, our rental was very high because it was under Kofu. So our margins were thin, then we're trying to, mark down the salaries. Then of course, we get people who play punk every day, today I come, tomorrow I don't come. And end up we are the ones working there 14 hours a day, 12 hours a day. Then this went on for a good 5 years. It was, and to the point where, I kind of dreaded going to work because who's gonna punk Sam tomorrow? Who's gonna come up with MC tomorrow? There was even once, when these 4 outlet, 4 staff all to MC at the same time just to play punk. But then we still had to cover because we still had to find ways and means to actually cover when all 4 staff took MC. So we realized, this is not the way to grow your business. This is not the way to keep consistency in the quality. So that's when after 5-6 years, we realized that we need to increase our salary. We realized that actually to keep the quality consistent and to increase our sales, we need to have very, 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 very good manpower. And that's when we increase our salary to maybe 10-20% above the market rate. So that when we advertise our jobs, we don't have much problems, hiring staff and also to keep the staff. And also we have very good benefits. Every year we increase their salary, we give them bonus, good employment benefits, and that's when they stay long in the company. We have staff working for us for 5, 6, 7 years. We have even had staff, working for us since the very first outlet. So I think that's when, now we stop hiring part-timers also, because we realize, part-timers, they come, they want to come, they come, they don't come. So now actually our whole workforce, 40 staff, all full-timers.
What are the processes that you have in place?
Basically, everything goes hand in hand. So when you find good staff, your process, your quality, it improves. So our hierarchy right now is, every outlet we have a supervisor in charge of the outlet. Then we go down every outlet every day as well to QC on the supervisor, we QC on the staff as well. And for the past 1-2 years, that worked really well for us.
So to add on, I feel that from his past failures, one thing that really changed how we look at this F&B or business as a whole is really to take ownership. So a lot of people don't know this idea, or they don't practice this idea of taking ownership. Taking ownership means like really be heavily involved in like operations to like expansion to everything that you have in the business. Because when you're heavily invested in it, then only it can work. So like since from hiring manpower to actually showing up to managing your business. So I think that's one thing that really changed.
How much can your best outlet do?
Our best outlet is at NTU. We cannot disclose much about the revenue, but we have about 1,000 customers a day on a daily basis per day. Yeah.
During the school term.
During the school term, yeah.
Actually, it's quite impressive, I think, of like how fast we churn out. Because even though you have that many customers, maybe you can't handle the volume also. So we're able to handle these 1,000 customers a day. And yet, it's still pasta express. It's still quick serve.
Yeah. It's not easy. We need about 10 staff in that particular outlet. It's just a small shop. We need 10 staff in the outlet just to churn out these, to serve these 1,000 customers a day.
How do you split the roles for the 10 staff at the NTU outlet?
So we work something like a factory line. Everybody has one specific job and only that specific job. I mean, during operation. So one person, so maybe this person today, you're just taking orders non-stop for 4 or 5 hours. Then one person just cashiering, one person just dispatch. Then 4 or 5 cooks just keep cooking and all, So that's how, this is a whole factory line. Everybody just has only one job.
But also, because we experience such large volume, it also made us think of how to improve this business. So actually moving forward, we are going to implement self-service kiosks. So this can actually minimize our manpower and also minimize waiting time.
What's the most popular pasta combination for students?
Definitely creamy duck.
So our cream sauce is, I think, of all our orders, I think the cream sauce, because ours is a build-on model, we have 3 sauces, tomato, cream, and aglio olio. I think cream sauce takes up about 60% of our daily sales.
What is the hardest part of running an F&B business?
I think personally it's managing different stakeholders, because there are so many people involved in this running an F&B business, like our landlord, to our customers, to our workers, to our suppliers. Everybody wants a piece of us, and we are quite a small company. So to give all these margins away to landlord, they want high rental. Suppliers, they also. So when we actually spreading ourselves quite thin. So I think one of the most challenging part is actually managing all these stakeholders when we are a very small company.
And as you grow to a certain scale, because we are very, we do everything ourselves. So we try to, like she said, everything we have to be really in it, So we do everything ourselves, and ultimately, you feel all the stress, So for me, actually on a daily basis, my phone never stops ringing, be it WhatsApp, be it phone calls, be it emails. It doesn't really stop. Be it morning 7 a.m. and night 10 p.m., Saturday, Sundays when I'm overseas, anywhere, it doesn't stop.
You don't have an off day,
That's the thing about running a business. People can say, hey, you work 8 months a year, but actually I work 365 days. Whereas, if as compared to an employee, they have, when they off, they don't check their emails, they don't reply anything. But as a business owner, you always have to pick up your phone calls, reply to WhatsApps, and anything that, any emergency that happens in the outlet, you have to be the first one to respond to it. Yeah, so that I would say is the challenging part.
What are your tips on managing this always-on mode as an entrepreneur?
At this point, because we are still quite small, we still do everything ourselves. But of course, if we were to grow to a bigger scale, then we will start getting people to run this for us, maybe operational manager, general managers, of course. they'll be the ones to handle all this for us.
Basically, having more resources at hand, I think, not just restricted to just the both of us, that would really help. So I
but
guess we're
at
moving
this-
towards that.
but at this time, I think we are not big enough yet to
Which is just the reality of
Yeah.
F&B owners in Singapore.
What is it that you love about running F&B business?
that you actually own your time. I can plan a holiday. I want to go during this period. I go. I don't have to apply leave. I don't have to, ask for permission. Yeah, it's really like there's no Monday blues. There's no Sunday blues. There's no Saturday blues. Every day is a Saturday. So for me, that's what I like about running my own business.
I also think it's meaningful when you get customers who really appreciate you, because we're not very active on social media, but I often get a lot of texts to say they really enjoy our pasta. Can you please open? They will even send me the shop front. There's a shop that's available. Can you please go and rent it? So things like little things that you get recognition from your customers. I really feel like it's really very sweet, because they don't have to do that, but they will do that. Especially if you versus the complaints that we get, the nasty customers that we get. It makes us even. Especially for me, makes me appreciate them even more. So I think that's really the little silver lining that comes out from doing F&B.
What is next for Pasta Express?
Yeah, so we started, I think the first 5 years of Pasta Express, we focused on universities. Then our second phase, which was the past 2 years, was actually to expand to heartland malls. So we have one at Venue Residence, which is a mixed development, and the second one at Woodley Mall, which is also a mixed development, but also is a bigger shopping mall. And our third phase now, we're actually entering into corporate. So we have our upcoming outlets are at Changi City Point and Cambridge area. So we are targeting the Changi Business District, the One North Business District, and upcoming times, hopefully we can open one in Raffles Place or maybe Jurong East. So for us, this is a new phase where our new phase is actually really from campus to corporate. So because we have built our base in these universities for I think a good 6, 7, 8 years, in the 3 major universities, I think. And if you were to pick a random university kid and you ask them, okay, have you heard of Pasta Express in university? I will hope that they say yes. And so this group of students, when they graduate and they enter the working world, they will go to either one of these areas. So this is what we hope to target. That we already have some sort of brand recognition in these areas.
How do you guys decide which location to expand into?
We have this formula. Of course. We every time we open outlets or when we calculate our profits, we always have this formula. But also besides this formula wise, we also depend a lot on gut feel, or experience. Because there's no formula can tell you whether this outlet will make money or not. Because even this one brand every brand is different. This brand can survive in this location doesn't mean the other brand can survive in here. So for me, there is no formula. Even though we have a formula, no formula works. And so ultimately, I think mostly it's really based on gut feel, your experience, for the past 7, 8 years, experience in our own business, experience in walking around, looking at how the market has changed. So it's the kind of experience that, will give us ultimately the gut feel whether, yes or no.
What are your advice for aspiring F&B entrepreneurs?
I think don't be afraid to fail, because your first venture, most likely you will fail. I mean, that's the fact. And also, I think one thing I learned from, Pasta Express is that have a very streamlined menu. We had a very streamlined concept from the get-go, a very streamlined menu from the get-go, whereas our competitors were selling like mushroom soups, selling many things to add on, but our menu were concise, streamlined right from the get-go, because we knew what we wanted. So I think that could help a lot in, having the USP, you have something unique.
So for me personally, because I personally experienced failure for a good 6, 7 years, and during the 6, 7 years, I was losing so much. I lost so much money. I went through so much stress. To be honest, I wouldn't recommend anybody starting a business without a solid business plan. Because recently, you see a lot of people I quit this job to start this. I quit this job to start this. I will become a hawker. This and that. Nothing wrong with chasing your dreams, but more often than not, you need to have a better idea and business plan other than just, I want to sell this. Because running a business in Singapore is really not that easy. It's not just, you can have the best food in the world, but you might not even make a single cent. You might have the worst food in the world, but you might be making a lot of money. So business not just Singapore, I think business in general has much more to it than meets the eye. It's not just a simple formula, rental, manpower, food tastes good. It's not that simple at all. So ultimately, I would say that, unless you have money to burn, you have years to burn, do not just jump into F&B heedlessly.
And also be careful who you work with. because I feel that a good partnership and teamwork is more important than anything else. You know, outside you hear a lot of people, I want to sue my partner, I want to sue my shareholders, whatever. So finding a solid teamwork is very important. I wish I knew that from the start because, you know, I always believe that everyone have their strengths and weaknesses and these two need to complement before everyone can work together. A lot of people think that, oh, I can just start a business with family, start business with friends, but actually it's really not as rosy as it seems. So I think a solid teamwork is really the foundation to success.
How do you guys balance between business and personal relationship?
Oh, we used to quarrel a lot. I mean, at the start of the business, because we don't really know where we are coming from. We are not clear, like, about each other's strengths and weaknesses also. So, and also the line tends to be, you know, gray in between, like you said, business and relationship. But over the years, we have learned that, you know, you have your strength, I have my strength, you have your weakness, I have my weakness. So when it kind of gets into that zone, we will be like, okay, we will let each other cool down, and then we will let the person who is stronger in that thing make the decision. So I think that really helps also to see each other clearer, even as a person, as a partner, as a business partner. Yeah.
What I learned was that, you know, because back then, you know, I was running this business by myself before she came in. So for me, whatever I decide, that's it, you know. But after my wife joined me, you know, back then she was still my girlfriend. After she came along, then I realized that actually, there's not only one way to solve a problem. There might be 3 solutions. There might be 5 solutions, and it's not just my solution is not the only solution. So that's the main thing that I learned, you know, that, you know, accept other people's feedback and solution, that, you know, you are not the only one that can come up with a solution. I.e. to say the wife is also right.
Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your younger self?
I would tell myself, do not bother with, I mean, this is just my own personal opinion, but I'd rather I did not go through with my studies. You know, I'd rather I just focus, you know, fully. If I want to do business, I should focus fully in running a business. Because back then, like I said, you know, I was running a business, 25% run business, 25% school, 25% having fun, 25% playing my sports. You know, I wasn't focused in anything. That's why I failed in everything. I failed in my sports. You know, every year our soccer lose. Then my studies almost never graduate. My business all closed down. Only my dating life not bad, you know. Like, but other than that, everything failed. But if I were to turn back time, if all these things, I will only choose one. You know, that is the thing that I want to tell myself, you know, back if I was 23-year-old.
I would say be patient. Like everything is really part of the process. Because I remember during my corporate life, I really hated the job, the rat race. I hated going to work and everything. But I didn't see the bigger picture of how it would like shape me, how the corporate life would teach me when it comes to business next time. So I would really say be patient, just accept it and then learn from it. And then, you know, don't just... I think I was young and hateful, so I didn't persevere with my corporate life. But I mean, of course, it turned out good. But, you know, just really be patient. Everything is part of the process. If you feel like you're in a hard place, maybe it's really, you know, speaking to you to teach you something. So I think that's it.
Was there ever a time when you compared yourself with your peers or questioned your decision to be an entrepreneur?
Actually, not once. Because I think I was having a better life than them. So it's like, you know, I never envied those 9 to 5, you know, even those, you know, they can join MNC. But for me, I feel like, you know, I was having a lot of fun. You know, back then, you know, nothing was serious yet. So I was having a lot of fun. I was, like I said, you know, I had no blues. Every day was just having fun. Although I had no money, but I was having fun, you know. I was losing a lot of money, but I was having fun. So that point of time, honestly, I didn't envy them at all. But what I envied was when I was actually, when I was working, when I was trying to build this business, when I was working the restaurant, you know. That was when I was working 2 part-time jobs, you know. Then I missed a lot of things, you know. I missed birthday parties, I missed 21st party, I missed this, I missed that, just because I was working and hustling. But that was something that, you know, I missed. That, if anything, that would be the only thing that I missed, parties. Yeah.
Did you ever think that you'll become an entrepreneur?
I think I was actually brought up in that environment, so I've always geared towards it, but I wouldn't have taken the leap of faith if not for Jinhui, you know, because like I said, I needed a lot of convincing, like a solid teamwork, a solid plan, everything to fall into place before I actually take the leap of faith. But now looking back, if you asked, I mean, the question, if you actually envy your friends getting the MNCs and everything, because I've experienced both sides, right? I feel like taking ownership and, you know, there's a sense of satisfaction that doesn't come from working for MNCs compared to doing your own business and, you know, seeing your baby come to life. So that's really something that I feel that's the difference.
Would you consider selling your business?
For me personally, I believe that, you know, I want to sell at a peak. At the peak, you know. Right now we are still growing, so it's not really a time to sell yet because it's not worth it yet. You know, because if people see you, they say you have nothing much to prove yet. So I would say that, you know, when we are at the peak, because businesses always has as a lifeline. No, I mean, it's very difficult for you to run a generational business where you can pass down this Pasta Express to your kids. So generally businesses like ours, we have a trend. If we have survived for 7-8 years, we'll be happy if we can survive 10 years, 12 years. But there's always a lifeline where we will plateau off, or get stagnant. So I think that selling off at the peak will get us the highest valuation.
So personally, I believe that opportunities are everywhere. So if the right one comes, or whether is it at the peak or not, but maybe someone who can help us expand the business further, someone who can open our eyes to different opportunities that we can't offer Pasta Express anymore, that's when I will be inclined to sell it.